Hi, Andrew here, and let's talk some more about why to get in shape or to get back in shape. I spoke about my heart rate and lowering it to reduce the stress on my heart. I've written on the topic of heart rate and longevity, and there is a correlation between a low resting heart rate and longer life. And I'm guessing, I can't remember my readings on it, but your heart beats less often. Fewer beats equals, if you have X number of beats in your life, if you use up a few of them to get your basic rate to drop, you come out ahead and your heart beats fewer times, beats less often, and you last longer. Why is this important? I've mentioned I have young children, 8, 12, and 14. My youngest will be 9 this fall, right around the time I turn 55. Yeah, I'm a 55-year-old, and my youngest kid, or I will be, and my youngest kid still has a single-digit age. I need to be on this side of the dirt for a long time, and to give the little goof the father and daddy that he deserves, that every little boy deserves, I have to be able to keep up. Well, how do I do that? Partly is what I've mentioned before in stubbornness. The little goober had me out on the tennis court a few weeks ago. I told you about that with my knees, and I was afraid because I was having an arthritis attack, and the side-to-side motions and the stability and instant twisting and turning and everything, it actually made them feel better. But he wanted to play tennis, and his brothers were out of gas, and his mother had gone home to make breakfast, so all that was left was Daddy, and I had to keep up. That's one basic thing. I have to be in shape so that I can keep up to my kids. And there's another one, and it's kind of hidden away in what I was just talking about. I expected in that tennis game to be hurting. Now, I expected it to be my knees, but for you other middle-aged guys out there, what happens that first time you go out and pick your game? The first time you sprint those bases hard playing softball. That first time you get out on the soccer pitch and play a game of soccer. That first time you get out on the half court and shoot some hoops. What happens to you the next day? If you're not in shape, you're busted. And you could have days of recovery. I've talked about the New Year's resolution conundrum, that your first workout hurts you so bad, the next workout's a week away because it takes so long to recover. Well, I noticed something in my exercise programs a number of years ago. When I was encroaching on 50, late 40s, somewhere in my late 40s, I noticed that Sunday hockey, I was down to only playing one day a week. Winter Sunday hockey, that Mondays were hell on wheels. I was hobbling around like the senile kitty toucher in the White House. I could barely move. I was shuffling around like an 80-year-old man. Because those Sunday hockeys, even though we weren't playing contact, it's get on the ice, go as fast as you can, go as hard as you can, sit down. Get on the ice, go as fast as you can, go as hard as you can, sit down. And at the end of an hour of this, I was wrecked. And Mondays were awful. I was in pretty good shape, but I wasn't in excellent or great or spectacular or fantastic or whatever shape. I discovered high-intensity interval training. And I started doing, I've mentioned, I love me some hot yoga. I really do. I don't like doing yoga at room temperature. I love the 110-degree heat. Well, there's a Pilates program, and it's a combination of Pilates and interval training called Inferno. Yes, as in hell. It's done in a heated room. Not as hot as the Bikram hot box, but it's done in a heated room. And you sweat. And it's interval training. The easy classes are 20 seconds, 20 seconds. The hard class, 20 seconds on, 20 seconds rest. The hard classes are 30-10s. 30 seconds exercise, 10 seconds rest. And an hour of that, whoo boy, howdy does that fucking hurt. It's rough. I thought Bikram hot yoga was rough until I started doing this nonsense. Well, it was a challenge of character. I was going to tough it out. I was going to be, most of the time, the oldest man in the room, and I was going to go as hard. My yoga Pilates studio is located near a couple of universities. But I was going to go as hard as those kids, and I wasn't going to stop. I wasn't going to take a rest. Because in here, I'm still a teenager. Out here, yeah, that ship sailed. But I did it. And the first day after that first HIIT class was hell on wheels. I was a mess. But I just kept going back because I'm stubborn. I'm as stubborn as the highlands that my ancestors carved into hovels. There's a lot of Scottish stubbornness in me. And so I just did it. I just kept going and I just kept going. And I noticed something funny. And it dawned on me after a time. Mondays I didn't hurt. That my Sunday hockey game, no longer racked me up for 24 to 36 hours or 48 hours. I used to have hockey on Sunday. Mondays I wouldn't do anything. It was a rest and recovery day. Tuesday was the next day I exercised. After 6 months of hot Pilates, and I was doing 2 hot Pilates and 2 hot yogas a week, and that's a lot of sweat. And I'd play hockey on Sunday morning. I was doing either hot Pilates or hot yoga on Monday night. Or sometimes, just for giggles, I do both. I do them back to back. And there were people in the studio would see me do this, and they're 20 years younger than I am, and I'm gonna try it. And at the end of it, we're just sitting in the change room going, what the fuck was I thinking? But feeling good about ourselves. But think about that though. I went from Monday rest day to Monday back-to-back hot yoga, hot Pilates. Because the hot Pilates and hot yoga combination put me into such tremendously good shape, I could do it. But it wasn't just good shape. It was recovery. My body from the hot Pilates learned to recover faster so that I could recover from exercise faster as a 50-year-old than I could as a 40 or 30-year-old. So why am I doing this everyday exercise? To get back to that. I haven't been to yoga since the fat fascist fuck of Queen's Park shut us down 2.5 years ago. It was a huge part of what brought on my mental health crisis, is the isolation and the lack of yoga and all of those things. And they were open, they were closed. They were open, they were closed. And I never went back because it wasn't until I knew for sure that this horse shit is over. And we're not even sure about that because they're making noises about the fall. But if the fat fascist flobberworm fuckwit Ford comes through on his promises that we're done with lockdowns, we're done with isolations, we're done with restrictions, then I can go back and be consistent in my yoga and Pilates program again. Well, Andrew, why don't you go now? Because it's summer paddling season. Nothing more. The kids are off school. I'm busy during the week, and on the weekends, I like to go kayaking. Weekdays are for workouts with my wife and playing with the kids. Weekends are for my wife's bought a paddleboard, so we paddleboard and kayak together. And then I have my own solo adventure on the weekend. So the time isn't there. The membership's not worth it if you don't put in 3 minimum classes a week. And so I'm just waiting until the fall when things slow down a little bit in the rest of my life and I can go back. But really looking forward, not looking forward. Actually, I'm really looking forward to going back into those classes. I'm not looking forward to paying the iron price because while I can push my fitness up to here, those HIIT classes and hot yoga classes require, and we'll push it up to here. And the first ones are going to suck. But it's what I'm doing it for. At top level fitness, so I can go as hard as my kids want and need me to go when they want and need it. And the recovery so that the next day I'm not a hurting unit and I can get out and go with them again. Thanks for watching. That was my time. Now is your time. And in the meantime, get yourself back in shape. Teach that body to go and to recover. And you'll see me soon.